Anomaly Inc. is the epitome of a stereotypical prequel-defending child idiot. His first video was overly malicious in tone.
Fucking cocksucker, motherfucker!
He then responded to the backlash in an extremely condescending part 2.
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat.
I've covered content creators of all channel sizes, and none of it has been personal. Each person has simply been another name on the list.
Fuck off.
You can hate something that's good, and you can love something that's shit. For example, I'm not fond of Goodfellas, despite it being my sister's favourite movie, and universally praised by all the Scorsese fans out there. It's a great movie, but I personally just don't like it. Transformers 4 is a roaring dumpster fire, but I still really enjoy it. I have no idea why I enjoy that movie, and yes, I know I am an anomaly. But do you see how that works?
You are mentally damaged because of these movie choices.
She said verbatim those directors thought she was a terrible actress. Well, it shows what the fuck they knew, and if nothing else they were blind too if they couldn't spot this incredible talent right here.
You're a retarded man.
Okay, internet, take notes. Using the sand quote out of context is possibly the most played out and weightless fucking argument you could make against the prequels. And if you want to use that narrow scope, you bet your ass the oh so precious original trilogy isn't excluded from the broad stroke of bad acting and dialogue either.
Scruffy looking nerf herder.
Who is scruffy looking?
You are retarded.
For reference, Hayden has acted very well as an angsty troubled teen in other media. Most applicable to the discussion is a Canadian television show he starred in called Higher Ground.
I am not shitting you.
Now let me preface this by saying I have no attachment to this show whatsoever. I don't even know what it's about, but that's besides the point. I came across this footage by YouTube recommendeds, believe it or not. I never sought it out, and I doubt I ever would have found it otherwise. Anyway, in this show, Hayden portrays another troubled teen. Obviously, this character is very much different to Anakin Skywalker, but they share some core tendencies as troubled youths. I'm gonna play a small snippet for you out of context just to show you what I mean.
Your head. We're not leaving. You can't stay here, so talk to me.
Talk about what? There's nothing to talk about.
It's me or the cops. I'm the easy way out here.
I'm not going anywhere with anybody. I just want to be left alone.
I know, but that's not going to happen. So come on, give me a chance. Maybe I can help you. Talk to me. Tell me what it is.
I can't go home. Don't send me home.
What's happening at home, Scott?
Nothing. Just leave me alone. No, why are you asking me these kinds of questions?
Documented proof. It would help your case.
No. The answer is no. She just went after me. What's the word? I betrayed him. And that was the worst of it. What I did to him in my heart. And she just kept after me.
Scott, women are not the only victims of sexual abuse. It can happen to boys and men as well.
So what happens now? I killed them. I killed them all. They're dead. Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too. And I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. I'm a Jedi. I know I'm better than this.
You have such bad taste and suck complete ass at arguing.
Pretty sure I already covered this, but I find it's interesting you use the term awkward to describe their first meeting. When part of the reason it's so charming is because Anakin doesn't realize he's being awkward. He has no self-awareness for how he comes off here.
Are you a straight up liar or a scumbag who hates everybody? Die. You're a fucking idiot.
Basic psychology. There's these three elements that govern human behavior. The id, meaning the instinctual drives, the primitive part of the brain that wants to indulge in basic human needs and desires. Then there's the superego, which is essentially your higher brain function that understands morality and right and wrong. The part of the brain that prevents you from instantly acting on these needs without thought of consequence. And this acts as the counterbalance to the id. And finally, that brings us to the human ego, which perceives reality and weighs up the pros and cons influenced by both the id and the superego, which ultimately leads to a decision being made. This is why traditionally the older you get, the more your ego matures and is able to better regulate these psychological processes, allowing you to keep your id in check. This is why part of Padme wants to indulge in the romance as well as Anakin, but there's the part of her that's telling her, no, this is a bad idea, don't do it. The longer this goes on with the two of them in this situation with one another, the stronger these impulses become, and the harder it gets, which is why Anakin breaks first.
Anything is possible, Padme. Listen to me. You are asking me to be rational. That is something I know I cannot do. Well, you know, it wouldn't have to be that way. We could keep it a secret.
And while she is still struggling, her ego maintains a sense of reality with a healthy influence from her superego.
We can't. It's just not possible. No, you listen. We live in a real world. Come back to it. You're studying to become a Jedi. I'm a senator. If you follow your thoughts through to conclusion, it'll take us to a place we cannot go. I will not let you give up your future for me.
And Padme keeps this frame of mind because, like it's very much implied, she is still the older and more mature and rational one of the two. The reason why she ultimately concedes to her impulses in the end is because she is going to die. And if she's going to die, there's no more arguments that the superego can bring to the table to influence the ego. Her ego perceives this reality, and so the id is now the primary influence on her decision making.
How fucking brain dead are you? This is bullshit and you are fucking stupid. Stop doing mental gymnastics. Also, on the topic of psychology, may I ask, why do I have to do goddamn motherfucking research in order to watch my Star Wars movie?
I don't think it's a flawed scene at all. I think it makes perfectly sense.
Did you just say perfectly sense?
Perfectly sense. Perfectly sense. Perfectly sense.
Someone makes a legitimate criticism against them. You seem to be physically impossible to argue your insane position.
Most people I've heard comment on this scene have issues pertaining to the CGI portrayal of the character and the 50s diner look of the scene, which is just retarded. The actual...
No, that's not stupid at all, actually. You're just stupid.
Though, admittedly, some people can take their fanfictions way too far.
About that. He takes his lightsaber, he starts jumping around and flipping and everything, and it's nuts. And people loved it for some reason. Some people really like that scene. I don't know why. It's one of the dumbest moments in the entire saga.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
What does Yoda say in The Empire Strikes Back? He says the Force is not about muscle, this crude matter here. No, I thought about that. Remember that? It's not about your lightsaber. It's not about flailing around. It's not about doing fucking barrel rolls in the air.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber.
This problem is at the core of what I hate about the prequels. And that problem is Yoda. It absolutely blows my mind that people don't have a bigger problem with Yoda in this trilogy. Because if you ask me, this is blatant character assassination. Seeing Yoda with a lightsaber fills me with so much dread, and honestly, I can't explain it.
Here's the lightsaber. Ah, yes. A Jedi's weapon.
Wow, you really are a gigantic malicious idiot. I've gotten even more enraged with you now.
Criticize that the blockade is retarded for shooting the transport that's carrying the person they need to sign the treaty, but that's kind of moronic because if the blockade doesn't shoot down or disable the planet escapers, then the blockade isn't doing its job.
Well, you're a fucking idiot.
Was very likely inspired by the Virgin Mary. I'm a Christian, and I wasn't offended. As a matter of fact, who gives a shit? But
you are a child idiot, and fuck off.
And some very clever foreshadowing. The examples I point to are the following. When Jar Jar first meets Anakin and he tells him how to shut off the droids, this is very subtle foreshadowing for the final battle when Anakin blows up the control ship and the Gungans celebrate by pushing over the lifeless battle droids on the fields of Naboo.
You're a fucking idiot. 15
video responses. 15.
Fucking moronic. Maybe you should just stop making them since I've destroyed you.
You mean like this?
Are you a straight up liar or a scumbag who hates everybody? Die. You're a fucking idiot. I are retarded. I are fucking stupid. I have no life. I have no arguments. Only insults. The Disney trilogy is a lot better than the prequels because I have bad taste. I are a child idiot and I fuck off.